I had called the last recording Nautilus. Yes, I was wondering why I called this last recording above Nautilus. The Nor part is to sail, and it's Indo-European, but really I suspect that means it's Persian, and therefore yet again, although we think of the Norsemen, it's as Vikings and so on. It's from a steppe language. The Norsemen coming from there. I think of the sound tiller as the steering on a boat or a ship. A bit like the rudder, the tiller you're using to steer the ship. I think one of the surprising things about the Viking ships was that the rudder was, I think, such that they could sail to some extent into the wind. In other words, it acted like a sort of poor man's keel, really, which of course would have been invaluable in sailing. And of course the Germanic influence, Norse, for the British, with so much water around them. And that's how they built their empire. It was invaluable when it came to trade, a bit like the Venetian traders in the Mediterranean. Except we use the world oceans. As does, of course, America today. It's interesting that we sort of hold the notion of Viking as with fear and as savage and unethical, as if we were Celts, the ones on the receiving end. But of course the Celts themselves were probably Norse originally. Pushed out the other people, pushed them even further into Wales and Ireland and Scotland. And of course, well, great tendency for the Norsemen to wipe out the Celts, 90% of the males, and carry on breeding from the women. And so the British are Viking. You wonder too about, take Washington, its buildings, its layout to the city. I mean, they're clearly of the same style as what's now called Tartarian. Interest in proportions and style and so on. And of course, the symbolism everywhere was not a Christian, it was pre-Christian, and not Hebrew, it was Persian. And not Zoroastrianism at that, it was ancient Persian originally. Well, at some time it could well have been sun worship, but majorly it was goddess worship. Look at the female portrayal tales everywhere around these Tartarian style of building. I mean, the Norseman, Tuesday, female goddess. Was it Greece? Paul's confronted with greatest Diana of the Ephesians being chanted at him. Of course, Persia was one step, excuse the pun, off of Taataaria. Washington is founded by Freemasons. Freemasonry is Tartarian. They're masons, they're builders, the finest buildings ever. Okay, that was practicality. You know, the proportions of the domes and the sonic features of the buildings and so on. But it's symbolic of the perfection of heaven, the spiritual world, in some sense being built by the representation of the buildings, the layout of the city, geometric. The G in the middle of the, the set square and the pointers. The V, which is symbolic of the vagina, the female. The pillar, which is symbolic in Hindu, in Indian continent. Phallic symbol. The huge dome on the major capital buildings. It's the woman giving birth. She's pregnant. Or it could be. It could just be an amazing coincidence. And in front of it is this phallic symbol. Where's the Christianity? And it's the same when it comes to the Vatican. I mean, I don't mean the current religion is worshipping female god any more than Freemasons are. I'm just saying that goddess worship symbols are everywhere around their buildings. How bizarre. So, we have Tuesday, day of the week, named after a goddess. Wednesday, named after Woden, son of Thursday, named after Thor. Friday, named after Freya, another goddess. Oh my goodness. It's as if we have no idea of our roots. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.